Hello everyone, I'm Aman Maurya. So now we learn about view, text, and button in this React Native part. You're going to ask one question there, like why we are not talking about state, component, and props first in this series. Why are we talking about these UI components? Reason being, I want to make you familiar with the UI component first. At least with the basic UI components like, as I told you, view, text, and button. Once you are familiar with these things, you can easily just get the output over the emulator and you can play with the states and props and with the components. So let's take a look over these three components, and then we will go with the state component and the other React and React Native concepts. All right, okay. So firstly, we'll understand the code of App.js, and I'll give you some examples of view, text, and button. And at the last, we will cover some important React Native interview questions also. All right, so let's move on to the code. This is the emulator for output, and this is VS Code Editor. To check the output, we will play with the app.tsx. So let's understand this code, like what we have written there already, even if we did not write it there. This is the already created component when we created our React Native application, right? So firstly, React is imported from there, and then from React Native, two things are imported, text and view. And if you want to compare these things with the website HTML, then you can say that text is like a span and view is like a div, right? They are not completely equivalent. But for basic level learning, you can say that they behave similarly, right? So if you just want to show something in two different lines, you want to make a division, then you can use div. And if you just want to put simple text, then you can use text. Same as the span. All right. And button component will be similar to the button element in the HTML, right? One more thing, in React Native, we don't say it's an element or tag. We say that it's the core component if it is part of React Native, right? Or you can say that it's the UI component. All right, so after that, we are just creating an app function. And inside, we are returning something there. We are putting their view and then text like this, all right? And this is producing this output. So let's clear all of this code and write everything from scratch, right? So saving it. And now you can see that there is an A because there is no code. So I'm importing there. Import React from React, right? And after that, we can import something from React Native. As I told you, we will use three things: text, view, and button. You can import them one by one, or you can just import them all at one time, right? Okay, after that, let's create a constant. You can put any name for this, but the first letter should be capitalized. As this is, you can see the naming convention for components. And after that, let's return something. So, for a moment, I am just putting there a text. Simple, just text, and just see, hello, React Native. Save it. Still, there is an error because we have to export this component also. So now let's put their export default app, put the semicolon at the last, save it, and here you can see that we got the text there. So this is a bit smaller, so I can just add a text for a moment with font size. So if you're not aware like what font size is and what this style is and all, don't worry. We will make another video for this, and there I will explain everything. But for a moment, you can understand that we are putting their font size to increase the size of this text. All right? So there we have the output. All right, so if you want to show some simple text, that time you can simply use their text UI component, right? Or you can say that the core component. And if you just want to show two texts parallel, and if you just say, hello, React Native, and hello, let's say, which is my name, and if you just try to save it, it will throw an error. Reason being, and guess this question can be asked in an interview also. If you do not provide any parent element, then why will it throw an error? Whenever we are creating any component in React or in React Native, return should have a parent element. Inside the return, we have to declare a parent element, and inside this, we can declare many elements. So we cannot declare two elements, and both cannot be parents. So if I'm just removing it and putting their view, then it will perfectly work fine like this, right? So in that way, we can simply use a view, and you can say that this behaves like a div, right? And after that, we can have these two texts like this. Even we can just create a text inside a text also. If I'm just putting there, saving it, you can see that we are getting it on a single line. And you can change the text also. Let's say, putting there 50 pixels, then it will be like this. All right. So we can add a view component inside our return. Inside this, we can declare as many text components as we want. And inside a text component, we can declare another text element also like this, so that we can just show the different font size to it or different style to it. You can say that, right? Okay, so the next thing is how we can declare a button. This is also very simple. Just put there a button like this and close it. You can close the button with a self-closing tag, but you just need to provide one property there, which is title. Let's put there, trust me, and you will get the output over the screen. Here you can see that, right? So there are some limitations with the buttons. You cannot put their margin, padding, and lots of things with it, right? But don't worry. Similar to the button component, we have other components also, like touchable UI and touchable opacity. In upcoming parts, you'll talk about them. They are more flexible with the style, right? But let's say you want to change the color of it. Then you can simply put there red or something, And here we got it, right? All right, so that's all for this part. We got some basic ideas about how we can declare the text and all. So even inside a view, we can again declare a view. Also, if you just want to see, this is not mandatory. Like we have to show only one view. You can use as many as you want. And inside this, again, you can just declare any text. Let me just put their text also. Second view in text. Save it. And here we go, the output. All right, so that's all for this part. In the next part, we'll talk about some React concepts because React Native is closely using React as an internal library. So we will learn about components, states, props, and other things also. Thank you so much for watching this video. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share your feedback in the comments section. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.